Alright, so Blackout, real fun game mode in Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, and I feel like I'm actually pretty good at this game. I've ran into my fair share of retards while playing it, and I don't know, I want to show my knowledge and help you guys out, educate the masses, and by doing so, I need to show you guys some stats. Don't think of it like me bragging, think of it more like I'm bragging in a sense. But yeah, let's take a look at some of these wins. Right, I've got a good amount of wins in each kind of game mode except solo, because I don't really play solo too much. It's kind of boring for me. But yeah, I've got 271 wins overall. That's pretty good. My KD, aka Snake, is like a 3.6. Pretty solid, right? I'm trying to, like I said, I'm trying to show you this to kind of, establish some kind of credibility on the matter. I'm not a huge scrub at the game. I am fairly decent at it. So take my tips and tricks for playing Blackout, for getting better at Blackout. Obviously, with a grain of salt, I'm not perfect, but it should be a step in the right direction. So let me know what you guys think, and yeah. Alright, so the very first thing that I want to cover when I say tips and tricks on how to get better at Blackout, let's try to define better. Okay, that does not mean become elite or pro gamer status. Okay, I feel like that's a big misconception that people have. For instance, let's go to my story, right? When I was a junior in high school, I used to play on the Wii with one of those little pro controllers. I would sit in a house and I would have a motion sensor or a claymore, and I would camp with my gun aimed at a door. Now, I'm a little better than that. I can rush out, I can get into gunfights, I can be one of those casual gamers that kind of just goes around and obviously doesn't camp. So to me, that's just great improvement over the course of, let's say, 8 years or something. To other people that are like that no thumb Tommy or something like that, like Tommy no thumbs, where they can barely fucking play, getting better doesn't mean becoming Optic Scumpy or becoming any of these pro level gamers. Hell, I'm never gonna be Scumpy. Like, his aim is just out of this world. I mean, he's kind of trash low key, but even movement, all that kind of stuff. So when I say, hey, tips and tricks to get better, don't compare it to me. Don't compare it to, I don't know, your friend. Compare it to, let's say, where you were, I don't know, a week or two ago, or 2 months ago, or from Call of Duty to Call of Duty, with new each release. Try to understand that getting better doesn't mean that you need to become a 2KD player or something like that. You know what I mean? So let's just get that out of the way. Okay, so loot is a really important thing in Blackout. You always need to be mindful of how much loot you have, how much room you have to get more loot, and just basically all things pertaining to loot. Okay, obviously you're always going to want to pick up a backpack. If you don't pick up a backpack, then you're a retard. Pick it up. It's going to give you more opportunities to get more stuff. When it comes to things like trauma kits, okay, I've seen people say, hey, don't use your trauma kits. Save them for when you need to be healed or something like that. I don't like that idea. If you have, let's say, obviously if you have 5 trauma kits, go nutty. Pop a trauma kit whenever, literally every time you get an engagement, every time you even have 150 health, get that up to 200. But be liberal with your use in trauma kits, because first of all, it takes up one spot every single time you have one in your loot. Second of all, you never know if you're going to go into a gunfight and you're going to need that trauma kit, and if you didn't use it, then you're dead and you're sitting there thinking, oh, should have had it. And another reason to always use trauma kits is because when you get into that gunfight, when you have that mindset of, oh, I'll just use it when I'm in a gunfight, that'll be the perfect opportunity to use it, you're not always going to have the time to pop a trauma kit. It takes a long ass time to pop that bitch. I swear to God, I've never been so many times where I'm in a gunfight, I'm like, oh my God, hurry up, go, and I never get it popped off, and I die because of that. You know what I mean? So, pertaining to trauma kits when it comes to loot, just use them, okay? Unless you have one and you're saving it, I understand. But if you've got a whole bunch, or even if, hey, you see a sensor dart on the ground and you really want to get it, but you don't have anything, you don't have any room, pop that trauma kit and grab that sensor dart, which leads me to my next thing, sensor darts. Don't always save them, okay? I used to do this all the time. I used to say, yo, let's just save it for the final circle. We'll know where everyone is, and, why are we using it? There could be no one in that house. I've come off that idea. I like using sensor darts now, especially if I get 2, 3. When you're playing Hot Pursuit, there's a shit ton everywhere. Use your sensor darts, okay? even just to clear a set of houses, even if there's no one there, hey, at least you know there's no one there. Another reason why sensor darts are really good to use before the end of the circle is I'm of the idea that if you have good enough map awareness in the end of the circle, the last section of the map, there's like, let's say you're playing solo, there's like 3 or 4 people left. You should have an idea of where people are. You don't need to pop a sensor and be like, oh, they're there, thanks. Like, sensor darts are to be used when you're uncertain. I think that's when they're best. Use them when you're uncertain, and then when you get to the final circle, listen, you should have an idea of where the enemy players are. Like, you really should. That's my opinion, and take that with a grain of salt. But it frees up inventory, which goes back to the whole idea of loot. Be mindful of the loot. Use that sensor if you have it, and those are just my ideas behind loot. Now, this next one's a little weird, and it's gonna kind of seem a little loony, but just hear me out. It's the idea behind not using first aid kits. Alright, first of all, these things that they're the white ones. They're the bandages. They only give you 25 health each time you pop them, and I don't know. In my experience, when you use these things, it takes a long time to heal up, and I would just prefer going with med kits and obviously trauma kits. Now, it's a little hypocritical of me to say because, I mean, I've always used first aid kits. This is kind of an idea I've adopted in the recent weeks and such. But med kits are just so nice, especially with, like, let's say in the end of the circle, you're only ever going to need at most 3 med kits to heal yourself up all the way. Now, obviously, I understand that they take a long time to pop. I understand that. But this is just more of one of those niche tips where I feel like it'll make you a better player moving forward if you only use medkits. Obviously, when you drop in the very beginning and you're just a loot goblin, you're just trying to find anything you can get your hands on, pick up whatever you can find. But when you start progressing through the map in the game, you're definitely going to want to just ditch the first aid kits. Just see how it works. If you like first aid kits, if you like holding on to them because you're playing hot pursuit and you always need heals, hey, that's on you. But I don't know, try it out. Let's just see how it works for you. You know what I mean? Alright, the next tip is probably one of the most simpler ones, but dare I say it is the most important one. I have but one word, and it's consumer. Okay, if you don't know about consumer, then you have completely been playing Blackout wrong. Let me just tell you right now, it is without a doubt the greatest perk in Blackout. I would argue maybe Dead Silence has a bearing for solo, but I don't give a fuck. Consumer is easily the greatest perk in Blackout. Okay, this thing, I don't know if you know what it is. I bet you don't even know what it is because a lot of people don't even pick this thing up. What it does is it allows you to basically use your equipment, heal up, and armor plating. Heal your armor plating faster. It does it at twice the rate. That doesn't seem like it does that much, but let me tell you, when you're in the end game circle and you just really need to heal up, or you really need to heal up that armor because you don't want to lose it, this thing heals you up, gets you back into the battle in literally the blink of an eye. It is ridiculously useful, and it's something that everyone should. Like I said, I cannot tell you how many times I've gone into a house and it's clearly looted, and I see that little circle white ball, and I'm like, ha ha ha, they forgot consumer. And it really is just disheartening that no one uses it, but hey, more for me. But in the case of this video, if you find a consumer on the ground, pick that up, dude. It's gonna help you out. And by the way, that's one of the things you save. You save this for the end of the circle, especially if you're playing hot pursuit. Once you see that deploy unavailable sign, you're good to pop it. Last the rest of the game, and it's gonna be hectic as fuck, and you're gonna be able to heal up and get back into the gun battles as quickly as possible. So, consumer. That's consumer. Alright, let's move on to the circle, okay? There's a lot of questions, a lot of answers even, too, about how best to approach the circle, which way to go, which way to favor. It's really hard to explain. In fact, I think the best way to explain it is, like, with experience, you figure out which way to go is the best way for you. But, that being said, there are definitely some things that you should keep in mind. For instance, try to hug the outside of the circle. A lot of people will tell you that. A lot of people will tell you always hug it. That's not necessarily the case, okay? I wouldn't always hug the circle, but it's definitely a good boundary, or not a boundary. It's a good, like, guideline to go by. You know what I mean? Usually you're going to want to go on the farthest side of the circle that touches the blue with minimal area, I guess. Like, but right here, I go to the right a little bit, and I pick off someone who's not paying attention. You know what I mean? I should have gone left, but I went right. Another reason I went in this specific clip here to the right, even though there's less circle on the right, if that makes any sense, is because there's more hillside advantage up here. If I go left, then now I've given up my hillside cover. And that's something that's very important in this game. With the obvious exception of being in the circle and losing health, the worst thing you want to be is downhill, because you're not going to be able to defend yourself as much as someone who's uphill. And not to mention, like, a lot of places that have downhill cover, or just downhill in general, you're not going to have a lot of cover, if that makes sense. If you're uphill, you can always try to go right up above it and basically just find cover. It's hard to explain, like I said, but the whole premise behind this is try to hug the circle. If that doesn't work, try to get hillside advantage, which indicates basically be on the top. You know what I mean? Try to be the alpha dog and stick on top. If I had to explain it in this clip right here, it's more so like, hey, I'm listening around. I don't really see anyone on the left. I don't see anyone over there. And then I'm finally able to figure out he's in front of me a little bit. He's in this house right here. Like I said, this is a really kind of weird subject to kind of talk about. Like, people will tell you, always hug the circle. That's not necessarily true. Okay, if you hug the circle into a death trap, then or like a cliff, like you're underneath the cliff, but hey, at least I'm in the circle. That's not something you want to go about doing. If like that should make sense. If it doesn't make sense, then what am I going to tell you? You know what I mean? Hug the circle when it needs to be. Get hillside cover when it's needed. This next one really has only to do with duos and quads. And it's just this idea of when you're playing with someone and hopefully you have comms with them. Hopefully you're able to talk to them. Be sure to be calling out stuff. If you hear gunfire, or if you even feel gunfire, you can always use that little compass on the top of your map. Point out, yo, 246, go up behind the rock, behind the tree, in the house. Dude just went on the compound, something like that. Hey, I don't know if you see this, but across the, what do you call it, map? Yeah, across the map, there's a sniper over there. Like, watch out, don't peek your head or something like that. Anything like that. Right there, I threw down a sensor, and my whole team was about to throw down a sensor, but I was like, yo, guys, hold up. Let me throw this down. And they said, okay, cool. Imagine how stupid it'd be to have two people throw down a sensor. Like, that's just meaningless. A lot of things have to do with calling out where next to go, calling out if you see a supply drop, if you want to go for it real quick, telling people, hey, I'm going to rush out real quick, see if I can get some more loot, something like that. It's this idea that you have to keep on communicating with your team, and that'll just breed success. You know what I mean? If you guys talk, you guys are more coordinated, you guys can handle battles better, any kind of situation that comes your way, and it's just, you know what, it just makes for a better working environment. You know what I mean? Teamwork make the dream work. Get it done, you know what I mean? So, yeah, teamwork, coordination, that's pretty much it. And the last thing that I'm going to cover is going to kind of tie back to the first thing that I said about, you know, being an elite kind of player. And it kind of has to do with knowing your own skill, okay? If you know that you can't, like, let's say, take on a whole squad by yourself or something like that, try to back out of a gunfight. Don't rush up there without your team and stuff like that. And, look, I know it's extremely hypocritical because in this gameplay, I do exactly that. I rush up there. I don't have much support, and I'm just trying to go ham on this team. I kind of almost succeed. I get 3 of them. I'm not able to get the last one, and it's unfortunate. But this has to do with this enormous idea of like let's say you're someone that isn't as good. Definitely don't just rush into a gun battle and just sit there and not wait for your team. You know, like it just doesn't make sense. Odds are you're gonna die if you're not that good at the game or something like that, and it's just gonna be a burden on your teammates. Going down, if you're not playing on pursuit, you're going to be completely out of the game. And in that same regard, if you know your skill and you can attack that and it'll help your team, hey, go for it. But it has to do with this idea that, like, hey, if you just watched a video online of this guy eliminating an entire squad, don't just be like, all right, I'm going to go do that too now. No. Know your strength. Know what you can and can't do. If you can't generally take out a whole squad by yourself, try not to. You know what I mean? That's just... Like I said, it's common sense. That being said, I did just do it in this clip. whatever, sue me, do as I say, not as I do, and yeah. Alright, so there we go. I've got 7 tips for you guys right there. Little small specific tricks, that is, to do better in Blackout. I didn't want to make this video too broad, like, I don't know, look around your surroundings, have good map awareness, because that's just such a broad suggestion to give to someone. So I wanted to have very specific suggestions, and I hope this was helpful to you guys. You can use some of them, none of them, all of them, one of them, it doesn't matter. Let me know oh my god, let me know how it works for you guys, man. Words are hard. But yeah, subscribe, stay chalk, dislike, do all that stuff, man. And peace. I am out.